So I guess the question is for accountants who, especially during busy season, if they're short on time, they have kids, they're trying to work 12-hour days. What's the secret to fitting in fitness into your life?
So there's routines. Routines are like systems and processes for your life. If you could create your ideal scenario, I think the first thing to do is
May I have your attention, please?
Greetings, Accounting High. Here are your morning announcements. In today's Nick's Tips episode, Nikole and Scott do a deep dive, or should I say deep squat, into physical education in your accounting firm. Nikole is no stranger to living actively, having been in sports her whole life, even as an adult, and having created habits throughout the years to stay healthy, even while traveling and working long days. So whether you're working in an office or working from home, Nikole has some tips for you on fitting healthy habits into your day through movement, sleep, and eating. And keep listening for a word about a tech tool loved by many that will add value to your clients while making your job easier, called Justworks. So put on your Nikes, pull your hair back, and get in the zone, because class is in session.
I repeat, may I have your attention, please?
This is another public service announcement brought to you in part
by Accounting High,
the views and events expressed here are
of the next generation of accounting and tech professionals leading this space.
The events and suggestions are not to be taken lightly. Children should not partake in the listening
of this podcast.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So without further ado, introducing the star of our show,
Nix McKenzie and Scott Scarano.
We're gonna have a problem here.
So today's topic is PE, physical education, at your accounting firm, or for you as the accounting firm owner. Nix, I love this topic. I have a Peloton now. Just saying. I have a Peloton now through the suggestion of James Ashford from our episode with him. And I've been working out again, and I feel great. I've been hitting all my targets, hitting all my daily habits, tracking, and I always feel better when I work out. I always feel better, and I'm more effective in my life. So I just wanted to share that.
So how long have you been doing the Peloton?
3 days in a row now.
For how long?
Oh,
many
like
or how
30
many weeks?
minutes.
I mean, how long? When did you start doing the Peloton?
Oh, we just got it right
Okay.
before Mexico, and I just started doing it after I got back from Mexico. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to keep you accountable and check back in.
I'll be accountable. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and although I'm not a fitness professional, I have been doing fitness. I'm 34 now, so I've been doing fitness for like 30 years. I've been playing soccer. I started playing soccer when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And growing up, I played every sport. I've tried out every class. I've done CrossFit. I've done TRX. I've done Orange Theory, Barry's Boot Camp, Soul Cycle. I even did Krav Maga. I played Australian rules football as an adult, won 5 national championships. So I was thinking about it, and fitness has been a really, really big part of my life. And I remember when I graduated from college, actually, no, my first experience working was an internship at KPMG, and that was the first time I had a full-time, real job.
Yeah.
And I think that summer I gained 10 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was okay, because I came from my whole life always doing something, always playing a sport, working out, going to the gym. And then it was okay, now I have this full-time job where I have to get there at 8 in the morning. Then you go to lunch. I remember we would spend all morning, me and the senior accountant, deciding where we were going to go to lunch. And then we would go to lunch and this whole, take an hour and a half. And then you'd be there till 6. And by that time you'd just be tired. And so it was just a huge adjustment for me as a very fit person going into the real world. And I struggled with that, having the energy. So that was just a wake up call for me And so when I actually got my first job at a CPA firm, I just approach it a lot differently and made fitness a priority.
And then you said real world, right? And that's how, in most cases, at least in our society, like, you know, it's normal for, and I'm going to give it a prelude or a preview of an episode that we have coming up, but the guy that we recorded with yesterday, he almost weighed 400 pounds. He was sleeping in his office. He was working 100 hours during tax season. This was his life. He was eating fast food. It was so many different things. He's now down to I think he almost got less than 200 pounds. Like he's like 220 or something like that now. And he takes care of himself. But he had to change everything. He had to change the way his firm was run. He had to change the clients that they had, the team that he had, in order to change his life too. Obviously, he's not sleeping in the office anymore. But it's just a crazy correlation or parallel for what you said. Like you went into this and gaining 10 pounds, you probably noticed it. You probably felt different. Your whole life was shifting, and that you didn't want that to be your life.
No, not at all. And it's funny now. So I've been working from home for the last 6 or 7 years, ever since I quit my CPA firm. And I feel so much better now. Like I'm 34 and I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. But when you're going to the office every day, and especially, I say as a woman, so I used to try to work out in the middle of the day, and I would walk to work at a 30-minute walk to work, and I'd be wearing a skirt and tennis shoes, and I would walk that 30 minutes, and then I would get to work and I'd put my work shoes on. And then midway through the day, I'd go to the gym, and then you had to shower and get all ready again and put your clothes back on to go back to work for 3 more hours. How much time you spend when you go to the office trying to get dressed and look good and then try to fit in working out. So a lot of people, I think, just don't bother going through that effort.
Not worth the effort. Yeah.
It was I would bring my backpack with me and I looked like a complete loser walking to work, but I didn't care. I was trying to get in the workout as much as I could. And then the other
you also
thing,
feel like an outcast too, because you're probably one of the only people that's going through that extra effort.
Yeah. And people always make comments about that. And then also food, right? When you're going to an office, you're always somebody's birthday, or people are going out to lunch, or
you got the payroll rep bringing donuts in for everybody.
Yeah, there's always something. And just working from home, you don't have all those temptations and you have so much extra time in your day.
Yeah, that was a big shift for me working from home. And it is every time I would complain about working from home because I missed the social interaction, I'm discounting the fact that I'm in so much better shape right now than I was when I was going to the office. I don't even do that much. I just started doing the Peloton, but I still walk a lot. And I spend a lot of time on my feet now, much more than I did at the office.
The workout that I found works best for me personally, I think for anyone, you have to figure out what you'll actually do consistently. For me, working out or playing sports has always just been brushing my teeth or taking a shower. It's just something I have to do, some form of it every day to stay sane. But HIIT workouts, and if you don't know what HIIT is, it's high intensity interval training, have been the best for me in terms of body fat and strength. So HIIT workouts, typically you're doing short intervals that get your heart rate up to 80%. So it's high intensity for 30 seconds to a minute and then a 20-second rest. And
what's
so
heart rate 80%, 80% from what your normal?
I think it's 80% of your max heart rate.
Okay.
So you think of a full-on sprint, 100%, 80% of that. So I go to F45, and stands for functional, and it's a global franchise. So I think it started in Australia, but they have locations all over the US. But since I moved to San Rafael, I've been going to F45. And prior to that, I went to Tribe in San Francisco, which is a client of mine. But it's all HIIT style workout circuit training. So we're using weights, kettlebells, barbells, Y-bells, weighted ball. There's TRX, bikes, ergs, all the possible equipment you could possibly think of, and you're moving around in different circuits. But the good thing about HIIT workouts is even after you work out, you're still burning calories because you're in a higher metabolic state than if you're just going to jog or do yoga or something. So I found that HIIT workouts work best for me. But everyone's different. Some people don't like going to the gym. Some people would rather work out from home. So I'm curious, like, what's worked for you over the years?
Well, can I draw a correlation before you tie it in, before you get to the point where you tie it in? I know you've planned this, but a HIIT workout compared to, let's say, a cross-country run, right? Let's say you're doing tax returns is the easiest one I can think of. Or any type of work. With deep work, usually it's intensely focused with no interruptions or anything and getting it done. You can get things done in a much shorter time frame and be a lot more effective than spreading it out through the whole day and getting interruptions and all that. And I'm not going to link in the HIIT to like a cross-country run, but you're a lot more effective and you can do less in a shorter period of time. I think that's...
Yeah, that's exactly what you can do. It's F45, so it's a 45-minute workout. But by the end of it, you're exhausted. You get in, get out. I've never been... Yeah, I've played all the sports, but I've never really enjoyed just like straight running. I hate cycling. I cannot do that. I have to have... That's what I like about F45 is something different every day. But I think a lot of people... I think I take for granted that I grew up being an athlete and enjoying sports, whereas like a lot of people... Young people were never actually taught how to move their bodies. And so then as an adult, it becomes really intimidating of, I've never done this before.
You were
how do I
trying
walk
to teach
into
me
a
some
gym?
stretches when we were in Vegas. That's what gave you that eye-opening. You're like, how come you can't even do this downward dog? Like, and I don't think I've ever really done yoga. I've learned how to do some stretches here and there. I've seen a physical trainer, but most of everything I've done has just been whatever I could figure out myself. I've never had anybody teach me any of that. And I'm just, kind of me, I've always been like the runner or biker or cycle and things for a longer period of time because I can have some other distraction, watch something on TV while I'm on the elliptical or listen to music while I'm out for a walk.
Well, yeah, and those things are easy, right? Like everyone knows how to run or ride a bike, or in elementary school, you do like jumping jacks, push-ups, and sit-ups. But there's thousands of other exercises that we can do. We just have to learn them. And for someone that's never, ever worked out before, I think the challenge is those are the only things that they know how to do. So it gets really boring and repetitive. One thing that I did for a while, so I had a client tribe. And so we would just, like when I first started my business, we trade services. So I would do their bookkeeping and I did some personal training. But the personal training is a really good foundation. It's like working with a professional, right? Like when you try to do it yourself versus you have somebody else helping you along the way, it's going to have a greater impact. So by working with a personal trainer, it can give you the confidence, okay, like if you're starting from nothing, so you're learning how to do all the movements, you're learning how to do a proper squat or a deadlift or a Russian twist or all of the names of things and how to do it properly. And then after you learn that foundation, then you can feel confident to either go do it on your own or go to a class. And you have all these tools in your tool belt. But I think for a lot of people, it's just like really intimidating to even make that first step if they never grew up doing that. And then also as adults, like people sit at a computer all day and they don't stretch, which is crazy. I'm not a big yoga person. Like it's just too slow for me. But I did go to yoga for a while to learn those movements so that I can actually integrate that into my fitness routine. So at least I can stretch.
Well, I find it very hard too. I am trying to stand up at least once every hour. And when I'm intensely focused on something and doing work, 3 hours will go by without me even knowing it. And then I'll look at my watch and see, oh shit, like I definitely didn't stand up my 12 hours today because I had a couple hours where I didn't even move, right? I was just, let's say these days I'm just like editing so I need reminders. I have my watch reminding me, I have different things, but if I'm on calls all day, it's hard to just get up during a call and say, all right, I'm going to do some jumping jacks and push-ups, or burpees.
Yeah.
In the middle of our call, I go from one call to another. So it's hard to even get up, but I like doing burpees. I call them burpees, but I've been doing modified versions of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, is you have to put it on your calendar, because if you're just like, oh, I'm going to do it at some point today, it's not going to happen. You have to block it out and let people know, like, I'm working out during these hours, no meetings. It's workout time.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good book on stretching, Supple Leopard is a really good book.
Supple Leopard.
Supple Leopard, yeah. Definitely check that out.
Sounds pretty good. Chili Peppers have a song called Slow Cheetah. nothing to do with that, but I like the tie-in, like the leopard. The supple leopard just sounds like when I envision a slow cheetah, I also think of a supple leopard.
So I guess the question is for accountants who, especially during busy season, if they're short on time, they have kids, they're trying to work 12-hour days. What's the secret to fitting in fitness into your life?
So there's routines. I've been heavily focused on routines. Routines are like systems and processes for your life. And if you could create your ideal scenario, I think the first thing to do is to start something onset of the day. First thing, start your day with something to create that extra space, to be more intentional, to work out, to exercise, whatever you can do first thing before you do anything else. That sets the tone for the rest of the day. And maybe you feel even better to go out and go for a walk too. But if you can do even like a 20-minute, 30-minute workout, and I could push the Peloton because they got all kinds of workouts on there, not just the bike, but they got all kinds of different fitness routines. They got yoga classes, like boxing. Yeah. I'm sure there's like HIIT type stuff in there too. But anything that you can do in the morning, I think before you start your accounting day or before you put your work hat on, try that. That's my suggestion, is a routine.
Yeah. So I'm actually not a morning person. Like, I will not get up to work out in the morning. Doesn't work for me. And I realize that about myself. So I actually block time out either in like midday or in the evening to work out. And during tax season, I would do that. For a while, I would try to get up at like 5 a.m. and go. But then I realized I was just like more tired throughout the day.
Well, you have to go to bed early in order to wake up early.
Yeah. And so what I started doing is, like, instead of taking a lunch, like I would just eat my lunch super quickly, like 10 minutes, scarf something down. And then around 3 p.m., I'd go work out, come back, and then stay at the office till like dinner time and then head home. But to your point about just starting, like if you just show up at the gym or you just start to go on a run and just say, hey, like if I just do 5 minutes, that's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. The hardest part is actually getting on your clothes and actually getting there and doing it and showing up. And then you'll realize 30, 45 minutes later, you've got a whole workout. But if you just say, hey, if I'm just do 5 minutes.
Well, that's what we talk about in our episodes, me and Twyla, on the Atomic Habits. Let's shout out to Twyla and FreshBook Reports. If it's just showing up at the gym, is checking the box, just walking inside the gym, and maybe not even working out.
Yep, just getting there.
Yeah, just getting there is usually half the battle anyway.
Yeah, he basically says that showing up is the habit being to show up, as opposed to the habit being to do all the things that we've all got going on as parents and entrepreneurs, etc. It can just feel burdensome to think about, I have to do one more thing, versus it feels lighter to me to think I have to show up. My habit is to show up. If I don't do anything more than just show up at the gym, then at least I did that much.
Keep showing up. And that's what everybody says, because it may feel like you're not getting anywhere, but just showing up is actually enough, because you're going to have really good days and you're going to have bad days, but the bad days don't matter as much if you showed up. Yeah, but that's what it talks about. Like if you just have one of your routines or one of your habits is to work out or to show up at the gym. Like for me, it's to work out for 7 minutes. And that's only because I know once you hit the 7-minute mark, there is never going back. Last night, I was going to work out just for 7 minutes. I said I was going to get off after 7 minutes. I ended up doing a half hour, right? Like that's just, and I actually had a really good workout last night. Like it was pretty intense. There was some good music on that came on, and it was like I burned more, or I had a higher score than the other. I love how they gamify this thing too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, there's that, and there's the mindset of doing something and the momentum. Once your momentum, it's harder. Like it's just harder to stop than keep going at that point too.
Yeah. And sometimes you're tired, so you make excuses not to go. But once you start moving, and you'll actually feel a lot better, you'll have a lot more energy after than if you don't do anything at all.
So something I did last year was I had everybody on the team start tracking some new physical habit. And it could be just as simple as going on a walk, push-ups, pull-ups, running. Everybody had something different. And it lasted until me and Chris were basically the last two tracking it. And then I stopped tracking it. He stopped tracking it. But, that we have some people that are still, workout. They still work out all the time. They just weren't tracking it.
I
Chris
love
recently
that.
started again. I think I might start that again too, because then it pulls everybody up, right?
So maybe I need to do something like that. So I just was talking to Ashley about we're going to start doing a fitness stipend, but it's still taxable. So at the end of the day, it's just like increasing their salary $100 a month or whatever. But I'm trying to figure out how to, do I make them submit?
Track it. Find the habit tracker.
Yeah, because I want to make sure that
Google
they're using it for something. So how do I, that's the purpose of it, is to encourage them to go out and spend $100 or whatever they can on either a class,
gym membership or
gym membership or a tracker or something, because that's important for me and I want to make that an important
part.
You're
not going to spend $100 on a tracker. That's a Google sheet right there.
Yeah. Okay. No. I meant like a fitness tracker. Like if they wanted to go use their stipend to pay for a watch or something.
Fitbit. Yeah.
So
great idea.
That's a good idea, is to actually have them, because then we're like trying to figure out the admin of it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with people like submitting expense, like a receipt that they did this. I just want them to know that that's what that's for. So maybe that's a good
funny
idea.
That we're accountants and we hate dealing with that stuff. Most accountants love that, and they love tracking all of it. And they want you to submit every receipt and everything.
Oh, I hate admin. When our clients do stuff like that, I'm like, no, we didn't make it as easy as possible, because it's going to cost you like a lot more money just to offer that
frictionless
stupid benefit.
Well, you also want to make something frictionless too, because then people won't even do it. Like my team, they don't even go to the eye doctor, because our other insurance, you had to submit all this stuff just to get reimbursed for the eye doctor. So they just didn't even go.
Yeah, we use People Keep for our health insurance, but or not health insurance reimbursement, but they have to upload their premiums, and then we just put that flat amount every month. But yeah, low maintenance.
What other tips you got for somebody to keep physically? I like the idea of a Google sheet. I think that worked out for us. I'm going to restart that. I'll probably restart. I like to do things at the beginning of a month, so I'll start it in August.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I think I'm going to have, because Ashley and I'm trying to figure out how do we keep people like accountable to you.
And all they have to do is check a box. Like make it super easy for them. Pick a habit. Whatever that one habit is, if it's put my workout clothes on, they can wear the workout clothes all day.
Yes, put your shoes on.
All they have to do is put them on, right? And then it's easier. Like I wear workout clothes all day, just so whenever I do feel like going outside or doing something, I'm wearing gym shorts. So,
May I have your attention, please?
Justworks ad. So, if you're listening and you're an accounting or finance professional, which I hope you are, you're probably on the lookout for tools that won't just make your job easier, but will add value to your clients too. And today on Accounting High, we're highlighting one of those tools. See what I did there? We're highlighting on Accounting High. Justworks is a professional employer organization, or, as I love my acronyms, PEO, and here's how they can help. With Justworks, your clients get best-in-class payroll, HR tools, compliance support, and access to a rich suite of employee benefits, all in one platform. Justworks also provides 24/7 expert support that's available both to your clients and their employees. As a Justworks partner, you get free third-party admin access to your client dashboards and seamless integrations with QuickBooks and Xero. You'll also get access to a partner relationship management tool for real-time updates and reporting on referrals. Plus, you'll get paid for referrals that become Justworks customers, or forego the referral bonus and pass on the savings to your clients. Find out how Justworks can help your clients by going to justworks.com/partners. That's right, justworks.com/partners for more info. I will repeat, it is justworks.com/ I think it's a /partners for more info. justworks.com/partners. Peace out.
Okay, so if you want to work out from home, so during COVID, when there's you couldn't go to a gym and maybe didn't want to invest in a Peloton or a treadmill or something or run outside, here's what I would say like at home workout essentials would be. So first thing would be a yoga mat. Second thing, it would be a trigger point foam roller. You ever use foam rollers?
No, yes, I have. Yes, I have. I was going to say that I have an idea for another swag for Accounting High. A yoga mat, Accounting High yoga mat.
God, you're a fucking genius, man.
Another
great
one.
idea.
Yeah. Got a list.
Foam roller is a must. If you don't know how to use a foam roller, just YouTube it. Lacrosse ball.
Ooh.
So if you're like me, I have the tightest shoulder. So what happens when you're sitting at a desk all day is you're not using your back muscles and your lats. And so everything rolls forward and your pecs get really tight. So the lacrosse ball helps if you want to like lay on top of it and kind of get that in your pecs, loosen that up, and then also put it like along your shoulder blades where, at least for me, it loosens up that scar tissue in there. And then you can also put the lacrosse ball. So if you get the Supple Leopard book, there's a lot of stuff with the foam roller and lacrosse ball. And lacrosse ball you can also put like on your glutes to loosen if you get like tight hips and stuff. And then the other thing is a resistance band. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with a resistance band. Again, like strengthening your lat muscles and trying to correct that and pull your shoulders back. And then a resistance band, a smaller resistance band, which would be more for your hips and glutes. So if you want to get to the point where you're actually doing proper squat, most people, if they're not doing anything, have super weak glutes. And so and hips. So what you don't want to do is go to the gym and just start trying to squat if you haven't strengthened those yet. So if you get like a band, I think it's like a Slingshot is the name of the brand. I have to go look it up. But basically you put that around your thighs and then get in like a squat position and then sidestep each side. And then that really strengthens your hips and glutes. And then the last thing is a kettlebell. So like if you're going to buy one thing and learn how to do, work with one type of gym equipment, learn how to use a kettlebell because there's so many different things that you can do with a kettlebell. So, I mean, I would recommend if you could work with somebody that knows how to use a kettlebell or go to like a kettlebell training class because you can literally work out every single part of your body using a kettlebell.
I think Juana and Julia got me a kettlebell and I haven't used it yet.
There's a lot. I mean, you can learn how to do kettlebell swings, but there's all sorts of different...
What's the average weight for a kettlebell?
They have all different kinds, and it kind of depends what you're doing, right? Like if you're doing kettlebell swings, you're using a lot of your hip.
Well, you said if you're going to invest in one and somebody wants to get one, what size should they get?
Depends what they're, like how strong they are. But they have some sets where you can get like 3. Okay. They can have different sizes, but I would say like maybe go
5,
to a
10, 15 or 15, 25, 30.
15 plus. Yeah. Okay. 15 to 15, 20, 30. So yeah, there's a lot of different cool movements you can do with that or using your whole body. So yeah, anyway, those are the trigger point foam roller, the crossball, yoga mat, kettlebell, resistance band, a longer resistance band, a smaller one for your hips and glutes, and then that book, The Supple Leopard, would be my at home. Those are all the things that I have. And then I also I used to go to 24-hour fitness, so I did a lot of body pump. So if you go to Les Mills, there's some equipment you can get on there that's really nice. A barbell. So if you wanted to do like squats and stuff, and then it all comes apart so you can use all the different equipment. But
that's pretty cool.
Les Mills has some pretty cool stuff on their website. If
How do you spell that?
At home. LES space and MILL and
Mills. Okay. I couldn't understand.
Yeah. So he's the one that started all like the Mills. Yeah. He's the one that started all the body pump and stuff.
Cool. And for anybody that isn't ready to invest in anything, all those things seem pretty reasonable and pretty cheap. All you got to do is push-ups, burpees, stretches. A lot of these things, you don't need any equipment. It's body weight exercise.
Yes.
I mean, maybe a pull-up bar, but doing routines like that and just getting started, then you graduate to, okay, now I need some weights. Now I think I'm ready to do this or that. But you can start with your Accounting High yoga mat.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because before COVID, I was like that, where I was like, I need weights. And then I started doing these online Zoom classes, all body weight. But you can there's a lot of movements that you can do that you will get stronger even with body weight exercise. And if you literally Google search body weight workout, HIIT workout, like there's yoga, like whatever you're into, there's thousands of things on YouTube. So don't tell me you don't know what to do, because that's not an excuse.
That's not an excuse for anything anymore these days. I'm learning that now. Anything I want to learn or do, there's tons of tutorial videos for absolutely anything. I mean, God bless YouTube. I don't like it because I don't like getting stuck on the videos or seeing my kids get stuck on videos and tunneling in, because the algorithms are so great on there. They know what you like. They know which ads you like after you start watching a few videos. And it's a tunnel, but
You have to be careful.
use it for good. Yeah, you be
You have
careful.
to be careful what you look at on YouTube, because if you like open up YouTube, it'll be like recently watched, and then everything shows. I never had anything where I was looking at anything bad, but I was one time doing the AirPlay on, like, you AirPlay your phone on the TV, and like Mike Stanley was over and we were looking something up, and it was like, oh, my recently watched videos, which none of them were bad, but I was like, ooh, that would be really embarrassing if I was looking up something that was inappropriate.
Oh, I know, right? Like that's it's all so public now. Yeah. I see it where somebody else creates a video on YouTube and it shows everything that they did after after you watch their video, and then all the suggested ones are things that they were watching too.
Yeah, you're like, I had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
One time, God, I think my friend Ashley told me that she was on a conference call and a guy was like, or maybe a Zoom, not conference call, and he was sharing a screen, and I think it was like one on YouTube or something, and that happened where it was a Google search on like how to have sex or something like that. And
that's
it was
reserved.
And then he like closed it really. So be careful about sharing.
That's reserved for sex ed. This is PE. I guess PE and sex ed are still all the same thing. It's all part of physical education. But
well, that's the other thing about your physical, like how you feel, right? If you feel confident, you're probably going to have better sex too, right? Like it does affect your sex life, and you're out of shape. You're not going to have a very high sex drive, and probably your spouse isn't going to want to have sex with you. So, and then I think the other part of it is what we eat, because like I was talking about earlier, not
a huge part.
Yeah. What I realized,
sleep, but that's the first thing I want to talk about usually. But eating is super important these days because nobody eats right. Everywhere I go in my life, every place I go, except California. California, they do eat very, like, so many great options there. But Mexico, like the food there, every packaged food, Mexico, this is a great law that they have, or something that they have in Mexico, where everything packaged has warning labels blatantly on the front. Big stop signs. They're big black stop signs that says excess calories, excess fat, excess sugar, like excess, in Spanish, but it's like excess sodium, fat, calories, sugar. And the only thing that I could get was Topo Chico. I wouldn't eat anything because I saw the label and I'm just not going to eat it. Literally, like almost every drink except alcohol. Alcohol, they don't have those labels on there, yet I know there's excess everything in alcohol, excess calories at least. And so every other drink, there was those labels on there. So Mexico at least is making efforts, but then everybody becomes numb to it, and they still just eat all of the junk. Everywhere. Here, we don't have those labels, but it's so hard to go into a store, unless you go to like Whole Foods or the stores that have everything advertised, like this is keto friendly, paleo friendly, low carb, gluten free. Like I gotta buy that kind of food now. Otherwise, the friendly ones are all full of shit anyway. Like, oh, keto friendly, and then you look at the ingredients and it's just not very friendly at all.
Yeah, I mean, down in the South, it's definitely a little bit different than in California. But honestly, I would say the easiest way to cut weight is portion control. Like we all eat so much more than we need to. And ever since I've been working from home, I just snack all day. And it's got to the point now where I can't physically make big meals anymore. Because when you're having these huge meals, like you're going to work, you're working until like 12, and then you go out to lunch and you have this massive meal. Then your stomach gets all stretched out, and then you're tired and you're sleepy, and then you don't want to do anything else.
Less
and so you drink the coffee. So less meals, smaller meals. Like even if you broke up that big meal that you had in like ate a fourth of it and then ate another fourth of it and then like saved the second half for tomorrow, you would still feel totally fine. Like you would feel full, but you wouldn't feel lethargic afterwards. And so that's one thing that I realized is like I didn't need to eat that much during the day. I can actually eat a lot less. And then after a while, your body doesn't even want to eat that much anymore. Like I don't like the feeling of being overly full because it makes me feel tired.
Oh, yeah. And it used to be where it was like I didn't have lunch because it would make me tired the rest of the day. I never in my working life ever went out to lunch. I would always bring celery and carrots and people would just pick on me.
Yeah.
It was always a big joke, like Scott's eating his apple and his celery and carrots.
And that's
Sometimes I'd have hummus with it.
Yeah.
But people would make fun of me. And I wore it as a badge of honor because I knew I was at least being healthy, somewhat. So less meals. It was a joke. You just didn't even pick up on it.
Oh, less milk. Got it.
You just kept repeating it. Just kept going. So, but eating right is super important because it impacts everything else. And that's where weight loss starts, is eating the right foods. It's not just portion control, because if you eat the right things, I mean, it still shouldn't eat too much, but I'm just eating whole foods now. And I'm trying to just eat foods that are not processed, but I'm not watching my portion control. Maybe that's my next phase in becoming more healthy. I think you can eat. Yeah.
You can continue to eat whatever. If you just cut
what
you
to
eat
chew.
by like 75%, or like let's say 25% just to start, and try to get it down to like half. Eat the
I think the first thing
same
to
shit
do,
you've already been eating. Just cut it and try to get it down to half, and I guarantee you will feel way better and you will lose weight.
I got another tip too. You can do that, and you could also just do what I did last year. That was the first phases, was not drinking sugars. So the only thing I drank was, and I wouldn't drink fruit juices either because there's plenty of sugar in that. It was just sparkling water or regular water. That was pretty much it. Everything else has sugar in it.
I don't drink any sugar. That's a waste of calories for me. It's sugary drinks, and then just like unnecessary carbs.
Yeah,
like
that was the next one. Garbage.
I'll have like carbs for dinner sometimes, but for the most part, like for dinner, it's like lean protein or some sort of protein and like vegetables. And then during the day, honestly, like I just kind of snack all day. I'm addicted to is Tostitos queso, like chips and queso. Like I'll eat that during the day.
That's carbs. That's carb.
I know, I love chips, but that's the thing is like everything in moderation. The biggest thing is not eating out, because when you eat out, that's when you have all of the excess calories, like butter and oil and shit and cream that they jam into the food.
Yeah,
that you don't even know what they're putting into it.
Yeah, the other tip was the oils, right? Only use olive oil at home. Get rid of all the vegetable oils, anything that they create from anything that they didn't have hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when we just, the paleo diet is because we didn't have all those food processors and the ways to make the food that we do now. But what we're doing is condensing so much into something so small. We're not meant to be eating like we are. Like those oils, the vegetable oils and stuff, you're pressing pounds and pounds of vegetables into an oil. And then we're eating that concentrated amount of calories. And, I'm probably not doing it any justice by explaining it like this, but just stay away from those. And because you don't know what they're cooking with, right?
Yeah. And they're trying to make it taste as good as possible. So they're going to put everything they can into it. That's why I don't like Chinese food. It's like, to me, I think Chinese food is gross. It's like all just oily.
I mean, you see it at least when you go to those Japanese steakhouses. We went there on 4th of July, and it's like, all right, well, this is the only time I go to this place for the next few months, because I saw how much oil they put in the food. While he was cooking it, he was just dousing oil. He had an entire container of oil in that one mound of rice and...
You see that there, but like when they're in the back of the kitchen, you don't see that. And you would never put that much oil in your own food. You'd be disgusted by that. So that's the key. It's like try not to eat out, like once or twice a week.
Good food journal. That's something for somebody that's really trying to cut down on things. Don't even judge it. Just jot down everything you eat before you even try to start changing anything. Just look at what you're eating and try to track all of that, because then at least you can identify where the unnecessary areas, and we're just doing it out of inertia, or we're sitting there watching TV and all of a sudden we're eating something. Like, it's always the mindless snacking too.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the other thing that probably gets people is drinking, right? Like, I definitely drink.
Oh,
but-
alcohol. Well, it's you lose your inhibitions to not eat. Like, and anytime I have 1 or 2 drinks, then all of a sudden I'll eat whatever I see.
Yep. Yeah. I typically only drink on the weekend, like every once in a while during the week, like maybe once or twice a week during the week. I'll have a couple beers, but for the most part, I work out in the evening. So like that occupies it. And then it's like come home, eat dinner, watch some TV, go to bed. But I think if you're just coming home from work and it's 5 o'clock or whatever, what are you going to do for the next 5 hours? You're going to be bored, so you're going to drink. So you have to go golfing or go driving range or get into
Or work out.
Go work out, whatever it is
This back, yeah.
that can occupy you during that time, so you don't have the urge to drink.
Yeah. Well, you can't drink and work out at the same time. That just doesn't work.
I mean,
So work out first before you have that drink. Go
Yeah.
do that exercise, and then less time to drink and less time to fuck up.
yes, well, I'll do.
I
Yeah, we'll
honestly-
work
Now
out.
let's get to sleep. We definitely got to get to sleep.
Okay.
Sleep. Princess P over here has been working on her sleep for the last
Yeah.
year. I don't know
Yeah.
where you're at yet, but I had so much trouble sleeping last year, and I was paying attention to it. That's why it was so hard, because I was trying to go to sleep. So I definitely couldn't drink. Like, drinking makes you think you can fall asleep quickly, but you have the worst sleep.
Yeah.
So I have
you
my
wake
Oura
up an hour
ring.
later.
I got my Oura ring that tracks the amount of sleep, and it was telling me how much sleep I was or wasn't getting when I was falling asleep. And it was just very hard for me to go to sleep at a regular time because my body wasn't used to it. I stopped taking the anti-anxiety medicine that I'd taken for my whole life. So it was just really hard to fall asleep in general. I had too much on my mind. My mind is racing. So one thing I found is I would write at night. Like, reading works sometimes, but usually I couldn't read because I was thinking about too much. So I would just have the page open and just be thinking. But if I wrote it all on the page, it didn't have that much left to think about. If I just kept writing whatever came to my mind, it was just stream of conscious. Didn't even matter. I didn't even go back and I thought it was probably pretty good ideas, but then the next day I look at it and it's like, not even that good of an idea. I don't need to do that. So, just trying to go to bed at a reasonable time takes phases too. If you're trying to start going to bed earlier so you can wake up earlier, because I found that I can wake up pretty early without an alarm if I go to bed at a reasonable time. And that means winding down by 9, I can't have my phone. I don't even look or see my phone at 9. And if I do, it tends to bring thoughts in my head or ideas or other things that I can't shake before trying to go to bed. So I don't look at my phone. I don't have any TVs on or anything. And I use that extra hour. I try to get to bed before 11. So somewhere in that 10 to 11 range, I'm hoping to be asleep. But it'll take from 9 to 10 just to wind down from the day, maybe read or do something. I can't turn the TV on because TV's on. I end up watching a whole episode and then I start another one.
The whole series.
An entire series, yeah. Like, that's a binge thing. There's a trick about TV, though, I read a while ago, is Netflix or anything. Watch the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the next episode and then stop, because any cliffhanger for a show usually is resolved pretty early on in the next episode, because they have to start the next storyline. If you just have the mode to stop right after it's resolved, then you won't be watching 5 episodes in a row. Like, we would be up till 3 a.m. sometimes watching TV.
See, I have to watch TV to fall asleep now.
Yeah, well, that's
But
on you.
Mike and I ended up getting 2 split double XL single beds and put them together in replace of our king bed, because we both just hated it. Like, it was too soft for him and too hard for me. So we're like, we're just getting our own beds.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we have 2 kids that pretty much sleep with us still. Since I've been married, 15 years, we've had a kid in our bed. And when I started trying to go to sleep, it would be because I couldn't fall asleep with Frankie and Aria in our bed. So I would sleep in his bed. And I had a perfect night's sleep. Nobody in there. Is super dark. It was very comfortable. We got him a new bed and he never slept in it. He still sleeps on our floor now. In our room. He's 8 years old.
It's like our cats in the middle of the night. So my hair ties, I always like set them on the nightstand, and then in the middle of the night, Ruckus will just be like, wake us up, just creating chaos, playing with my damn hair tie. So yeah, pets, children, like trying to.
I think you
set
need to
yourself
stop with the TV. You can't wake up early because you're up too late. What time do you typically go to bed?
Probably between 10:30 and 11.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
actually,
it's not terrible.
Yeah,
Except for
not
like
bad
when
at all.
Mike's working, because he works 48-hour shifts at the firehouse. Then I would just work super late, and then my mind's racing. So then I have to take like a weed gummy to fall
Oh,
asleep.
yeah.
Here's the thing, though. So another thing that I will do in the middle of the day, and we talked about this before, is like napping.
Napping,
So
yes.
if you have the ability to do that,
Well,
taking, like, a
that's your
15-minute nap.
specialty.
That's my
My
specialty.
specialty now is
That works for
getting 8
me.
hours of sleep. Yours is getting the nap. So
Yeah.
how many hours do you typically get? Like when you on a regular night,
Uh,
hours do you think you get?
I usually will go to bed by like 11. Then my alarm's like 7, after like between 7 and 7:20. But I usually don't sleep like consistently the whole night. I wake up a
Yeah,
lot.
so you're probably only getting 6.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I'm like,
night.
I don't know. I wake up so many times during the night, and I don't know if it's the cats and they just don't realize it, or if I'm uncomfortable or what. But
So this was the journey I was on last year, and I forced myself to figure it out. And what it takes is the only way to get a good night's sleep is starting the day off right. And everything dominoes into itself. Working out, meditating, all of those things are the only way that I can get a good night's sleep. So,
not working out too late too, because I used to when I was in my 20s, I played soccer like 4 nights a week, and we would have games at 9 o'clock. I'd be done at 10, and I just be like wired. I'm like, why can't I fall asleep till 2 a.m.? Like it's playing soccer till 10.
those are the two things that I forgot about. So to close off the sleep part is after 9, I don't look at the phone, TV, or eat, or work out.
Yeah.
And those are the things, all of those, because when you eat, your body is, you don't really notice it or realize if you haven't paid attention, but your body's working a lot harder when you have food in you because it's digesting that. You can't eat before you try to go to bed because that's what's going to keep you up too. That's a pretty big deal. And it's hard for a lot of us if we have those routines or we have those, like, we feel like can't go to bed on an empty stomach. I always felt like that too. Like, so I do have to try and make sure I eat well before. And tonight's going to be a challenge, but we'll see how it goes next time. So, you got any other tips? I mean, I think PE, we touched on the 3 most important things: moving, eating, and sleeping.
Yeah. And then this, like, as a thing to wrap this up, because I know a lot of people travel a lot, and when you're traveling, that's when it's super hard. But make sure to bring your workout clothes with you and try to get in the gym first thing in the morning.
Workout clothes are the easiest thing to pack. They don't have to be folded that well. You can roll them up and put them in the corner of your suitcase.
Yeah, and even if you do it on the first day that you're there, and that's the only time you fit it in, like that first day is better than nothing. So
yeah,
we do that. We try to do that. You, me, Kenji, Matthew. We try to get it in.
And we have
conferences
successfully on a lot of our trips. We've all.
You can usually do it the first day, and then after that, I'm like dead. But
yeah, well, I'm trying to do it every day. Don't want to lose my habits. It took me almost 10 days to start working out again after Mexico. And it wasn't because I wasn't doing anything in Mexico. It was just hard to get back into my routine. But for 2 days in a row, I checked off all 12 of my boxes. 2 days in a row. Today, I don't know if I'm going to check them all off because I got only 7 hours standing, and my 12th box is stand for, get the 12 rings for my watch. So,
how many hours do you have to stand?
Well, I don't have to stand fully, but I have to stand at least 1 minute
stand
every
up.
hour.
Gotcha.
Stand up, and now I'm about to hit 8 on this one, so that would be 4 more hours. I'm not going to be up for 4 more hours, so poof, that one's gone.
It's all about routine.
It is, but I had to finish my wraps today, so
Sometimes you have bigger priorities.
Bigger priorities. No, nothing goes bigger. So that's another thing too, is nothing should get bigger than your routine once you set it, because that's what's going to lead everything else. And when you say, I don't have time to do this, you're prioritizing whatever minor thing
Yep.
that's come up and making that more important than your life, your mindset, your body. And that's the fuel. That's your body is the temple, right? Is the vehicle for everything else.
Yeah. We all have 24 hours in a day, and we can allocate it however we wish.
Do you have any closing notes?
Yeah. I mean, this is something I'm really passionate about, and I love when I see other people, especially in the accounting community, that come up to me and they're like, Nikole, like I've lost so much weight, or I've been working out. I feel like it's, and I would also say, like, if you have kids, if you could do whatever it takes to get them in sports or get them paired with someone that can teach them how to work out and give them the confidence, especially women, because a lot of people will come up to me and be like, oh, Nicole, you're so confident. And like for me, it was sports that definitely created that confidence. And just sports is like you're learning how to use your body, but then also you're meeting people that you have to learn how to get along with a lot of different people that you probably normally wouldn't hang out with. And then you learn teamwork, and you learn how to push yourself. So like for me, I'd be a bad personal trainer because I have no tolerance for people that like make excuses about stuff because I played sports, and I know that you can push yourself way more than you actually think you can. And I just would encourage people that have kids to make sure that they're encouraging their kids to get involved in something.
I challenge you though, when we start our Accounting High PT personal training platforms or coaching, when we coach business owners or accounting firm owners, you're gonna do the personal trainer part. So
challenge my patience.
To be patient. Yeah, you're patient enough with me. So I think that could translate.
Yeah. No, I wasn't that mean to you when we worked out in Vegas, right?
Right. Kind of. You probably. But it was a kick in the ass that I needed. I needed a little bit of motivation to get better, stretch better. All right. So we're going to rate this episode. I would give it a 4.7 out of 5.
You're into. Oh, okay. How's that, a 10? You're really into rating things today.
Yeah, Kenji got me into that. He rated our last. He rated my rap. He gave it a good review rating.
No, it's good. I think you should share it with the world.
Yeah.
Momentum. I'm gonna commission you for a momentum rap.
All right. Thanks, Nix.
Thanks,
Good
Scott.
one.
Bye.
Peace out.